Morning, warrior of the YouTube. This is Carrington Hollister, and this is the Carrington Hollister Show Unfiltered for Thursday, November 26th. First off, I want to wish every one of you a happy Thanksgiving. And those of you that already celebrate Thanksgiving, also happy Thanksgiving to you as well. As you see in the title, it's going to be the history of the Democratic and Republican parties. As y'all all know, Sleepy Joe Biden won the election. Yeah. God knows Sleepy Joe Biden won the election. And there's a lot of controversy in this as well. Okay. So I be going around my little city here, seeing Trump Pence 2020. In certain neighborhoods, I'd be seeing Biden Harris 2020. But it is clear that Biden has stole this election, single-handedly stole it from our noses. Call me whatever y'all want to call me. But I believe that Biden has stole the election. Right slap from under us. And those of you that voted for Biden, if you are of color, I bet y'all don't understand this. He the one that signed off on that 1994 crime bill that put millions of blacks in prison. Millions. He also signed off on segregation of schools, against busing. And y'all want to know the ironic part about this is? The very person who exposed him for his bullshit is now his VP, his vice president. So guess what? All I say is, look who called the kettle black. No pun intended. So I'm gonna read off my little mini teleprompter here. Excuse the history of Thanksgiving, which I don't want. That's not what we're talking about here. Of the Democratic and the Republican Party, Democratic Party. You know, as y'all all know, and this is based off of Google. You know, the modern Democratic Party emerged in the late 1820s from former factions of the Democratic Republican Party, which has largely collapsed in 1824. It was built by Martin Van Buren, which assembled a cadre of politicians in every state behind war hero Andrew Jackson of Tennessee. So, as y'all all know, Andrew Jackson was disgraced to the point he only served one term, and he never got another term again. He also was the who, anytime you hear the Trail of Tears, you think of Andrew Jackson because he ran these Native Americans from their homes over to Oklahoma's, and they never came back. Any two times you hear about Andrew Jackson, think the Confederacy. There is the United States of America and there is the Confederate States of America. All the states in the South was considered the Confederate States of America. All the states up north were considered the Union States of America. But back then, there never was a United States of America. But anyways, all the Confederate States of America voted Democrat in 1824, as the little teleprompter says. That means 9 times out of 10, that means the other states, which is the northern states, like, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Vermont, they all vote Republican. And it would tell you that the Republican Party, the first leaders of the Republican Party was black. And was black. So, hang on just a minute, okay? Because it will tell you. Sorry about this. So basically, Democratic Republican Party. Take this phone off because I have to read. Sorry. Was better known at the time under various other names. Was a it was founded by Thomas Jefferson and James Madison in the early 1700s. So this was basically together. I'm reading off Wikipedia. That's why this is where the source comes from, Wikipedia. So it was preceded by the Anti-Administration Party, and it was succeeded by the Democratic Party and the National Republican Party. So this obviously involves the United States of America to this day. So I'm going to play 2 clips off of YouTube on the phone. I'm going to play 2 clips. And y'all tell me if y'all live stream with me right now. I know I'm dropping viewers like, crazy. But y'all tell me, if those who watching, tell me y'all tell me that it is line up on line, precept with precept with what I'm saying. Because I may be wrong, I may not be, I may be slightly correct. Who knows? Who knows? But first, I entitled "The History of the Democratic Party." History of the Democratic Party. First, I'm gonna play that. So this comes from Box.
The Democratic Party believes that government has an important role to play in society. It fights against economic inequality. It advocates policies policies that racial and gender discrimination. But it wasn't always this way. The Democratic Party was once the party of white supremacy, supporting slavery and the Ku Klux Klan. To understand how the party...
At first, the Democratic Party was first started by white supremacy, the Klan, the Ku Klux Klan started a Democratic Party. Y'all really going to tell me that the Republican Party started all this Ku Klux Klan shit? Y'all willing to that? Y'all serious right now?
Made such a huge shift. You have to go back to its origins in the mid-1820s, when it started supporting the presidential candidacy of a popular former general, Andrew Jackson.
Exactly. I told you that's that's who started all of this. I mean, all of this. And you ain't telling me the Democrats ain't racist now? But you got millions of people voting for a racist in office now.
Jackson was an outsider, challenging the political establishment and the elites of his day, and his critics disparaged him as a jackass. But Jackson embraced...
See, they even call him a jackass just for what he did. They even call him a jackass. And that's basically explains why the donkey is the symbol of the Democratic Party. Thanks to Andrew Jackson.
As a symbol of determination, and donkeys started papers to represent him and his followers. In the 1828 presidential election, which saw record-breaking popular participation, Jackson won in a landslide victory. So his supporters argued that they, and not the old elites, represented the popular will of the country, and they started calling themselves the Democratic Party.
Hello.
Jackson's administration immediately began expelling Native Americans living east of the Mississippi River, an issue that defined the new administration. After he signed the Indian Removal Act into law in 1830.
In 1830, forced the Native Americans to go further west to as far as Oklahoma and Idaho and Kansas and all them places.
5 large tribes were rounded up and forcibly marched into territories and camps further west. And the Democrats' ambitions didn't stop there. In the 1840s, the party adopted the doctrine of manifest destiny, the idea that Americans, white Americans, were divinely entitled to dominate the whole North American continent. Democratic President James K. Polk put into action, massively expanding U.S. holdings by annexing Texas, acquiring Oregon, and winning much of what's now the southwestern U.S. in a war with Mexico. But soon afterward, national politics devolved into bitter controversy over whether new states entering the Union should be permitted to allow slavery. Democrats said they should.
Listen, the Democrats started the slavery shit, not the Republicans. Republicans abolish it. I'm not going to play all of this video because I need you guys to get the Republican Party part of it too.
Since their support base was strongest in slaveholding states. Yet a new Northern party, the Republicans, sprang up in opposition to expanding
Y'all see what I mean?
further. When Republican Abraham Lincoln won the presidency, the South seceded and the Civil War began. Once the Civil War was over, the Republican Party was bitterly unpopular among white Southerners who wanted to maintain supremacy of slaves. So the Democratic Party promised to limit federal government intervention on behalf of black citizens. Democrats became effectively the only political party in the South, aided by intimidation and suppression of black voters. Democrats also won on...
The Democratic Party was for the white man. The Republican Party was for the Negro. In other words, the Republican Party was for the African American or the black man. The Democrat Party was for the white man. Joe Biden is a white man. And before y'all jump in the comments and live chat talking about, oh, you're being racist, Carrington, stop and cut it out. I don't know, I'm not. I'm just throwing truth at you.
And local levels, leading to the constant abuse of the rights of black citizens.
In other words, these people had basically squash and quell the whole rights of the black citizens, as the man said in the video.
20th century began, the country was changing, and the Democratic Party was changing too. A handful of individuals and corporations had grown enormously rich and powerful, using their vast fortunes to influence politics. And as a reaction to this, some reformers began pushing an agenda of progressivism, arguing that the government should take more of a role in regulating big businesses and improving ordinary people's lives. At first, these progressive reformers were present in both parties. But it was Democrat Woodrow Wilson who won the presidency in 1912 and put much of this agenda into action over Republican resistance. So the Democratic Party became the main home for progressives, and the Republican Party became more the party of business. But it was the Great Depression of the 1930s that sealed the Democratic Party's identity as the party of government activism. In an effort to combat the crippling economic situation, President Franklin Roosevelt signed what was then the largest package of domestic government projects in American history, calling it the New Deal. And in the process of doing this, his administration dramatically expanded the size of government. Yet the party was still split over race. By the mid-20th century, it contained Southerners who staunchly supported segregation, liberal reformers trying to end it,
Y'all hear that?
and many politicians who were just happy to look the other way. In 1964, when the Senate voted on the Anti-Segregation Civil Rights Act, this shows how the progressive reformers in the party had gained the upper hand, steering the party away from its racist past towards equality and social justice. But the Democrats in the South voted against the Civil Rights Act, remaining wedded to the idea of segregation. This chart shows the presidential vote for black voters. Around the 1960s, black voters who had already been moving towards the Democratic Party would begin overwhelmingly supporting the Democrats from then on. And conversely, the Republicans would take a huge hit among black voters. Meanwhile, white Southerners moved away from the Democratic Party they had been loyal to for so long, in part because of race, but also because of a suspicion of big government and a desire to defend traditional values against liberal activists. Democrats would go from dominating the South to losing almost all influence in the region. Thanks in part to this drop in popularity among white voters, Democrats started losing elections, often losing by huge margins. But demographically, the US is becoming an increasingly non-white country, and the Democrats have had a comeback thanks in part to minority voters. The huge influx of Hispanic voters has especially benefited Democrats. These demographic shifts helped the Democratic Party, once the advocates of white supremacy and slavery, to elect the first black president in 2008, showing just how much the
And he
party
will be the
changed
only
over the
black
years.
president, by the way.
It's not entirely clear where the future of the Democratic Party will lie. But as America becomes more diverse, it's likely that the Democratic Party's appeal among minorities will continue to be its strength into the future.
He will be the only black president. Okay. And this is the Republican part, by the way.
Today's Republican Party opposes big government. It's culturally conservative. Its demographic support is strongest among white voters, and it usually dominates elections in the South. The party's 2016 presidential nominee has been heavily criticized for inciting racial tensions. But things weren't always this way. Over the past 160 years or so, the party has undergone a remarkable transformation from the party of Abraham Lincoln to the party of Donald Trump. To understand how the GOP got this way, you have to go back to when it first came into existence in 1854, just 7 years before the Civil War. There are two parties of this.
By the way,
the Whigs and the
1854.
Democrats. America is quickly expanding.
And before they were called Republicans, they were called Whigs.
The Democratic Party, with strong support in the South, has become increasingly pro-slavery. But the Whigs are divided on the issue. Their northern supporters are really afraid that the growing number of slave states would have too much political influence, which they feared could really hurt free white workers economically. So in 1854, the country is debating whether or not the territories of Kansas and Nebraska should allow slavery. The Whigs.
The thing about that is,
the party ends up collapsing.
this video might be, either demonetized or wouldn't air at all. The Klan, the Republican Party.
enough so that a little-known Republican named Abraham Lincoln wins the presidency.
Abraham Lincoln
Lincoln
will be
won't interfere
the
with slavery in states that already have it.
he's the pioneer of abolishing slavery. Main pioneer. He'll be the pioneer of abolishing slavery.
The northern states decide to fight to keep the Union together, and the Civil War ensues. The result is a northern victory and the abolition of slavery nationwide. After the war, Republicans begin fighting to ensure that recently freed slaves in the South have their rights. A year after Lincoln's assassination, the party passes the Civil Rights Act of 1866. They fight to make sure that black men have the same right to vote with new laws and constitutional amendments. But something that happened
to this
during the
very
Civil
day,
War that began to
some
change
black men don't even have the right to vote.
government spending during the war made many northern businessmen really rich. Gradually, these wealthy financiers and industrialists start taking more and more of a leadership role in the Republican Party. They want to hold on to power, and they don't think that fighting for black rights in a mostly white country is the best way to do that. Meanwhile, the South is resisting these new racial reforms, often violently. And most white Republican voters and leaders now feel that they've done enough for black citizens in the South, and it's time to emphasize other issues. So in 1870, the party basically gives up on reforming the South, deciding instead to leave it to its own devices. The region becomes politically dominated by white Democrats. Fast forward to the new century. By the 1920s, the Republican Party has become essentially the party of big business. This works out quite well for them as the economy is booming, but not so well when the economy crashes in 1929 and the Great Depression begins. Franklin D. Roosevelt and other Democrats are swept into power and begin dramatically expanding the size and role of the federal
Trust me, I don't have a big channel, so I shouldn't be demonetized
Republicans oppose this
for
rapid
playing
expansion,
this.
defining themselves as positioned to big government, an identity
If I
that
do, I will.
today. Going into the 50s and 60s,
Because just
race
a
and
document,
South
it's just a
returned to the
documentary.
forefront
It's just
of
not
national
music.
politics, with the civil rights movement attempting to end segregation and ensure blacks truly have the right to vote. The civil rights debate isn't a purely partisan issue. It's more of a regional issue, with Northerners from both parties supporting it and Southerners from both parties opposing it. Then, in 1964, it's Democratic President Lyndon Johnson who signs the Civil Rights Act into law. And it's Republican presidential nominee Barry Goldwater who opposes it, arguing that it expands government power too much. A massive switch-up takes place. Black voters, some of whom had already been shifting from the Republican Party, convert almost entirely to their new advocates, the Democrats. The white voters in the South, who had been staunch Democrats, start to really resent the big government interference here and in other matters like abortion rights and prayer. Over the next 3 decades, whites in the South switch to the GOP, which makes the South an overwhelmingly Republican region. By the 1980s, the party begins to resemble the GOP we are familiar with today. Republicans elect Ronald Reagan, who promises to fight for business interests, lower taxes, and traditional family values. As the 21st century begins, America is going through a major demographic shift in the form of Hispanic immigration, both legal and illegal. Democrats and business elites tend to support reforming immigration laws so that the over 10 million unauthorized immigrants in the U.S. would get legal status. On the Republican side, tough on immigration policies and rhetoric became popular. But this ends up costing the Republicans when, in 2012, Mitt Romney loses his bid for the presidency. He gets blown out among Hispanic voters. Exit polls showed that 71% of them voted for Barack Obama. So the Republican Party starts to look more like a party for white voters in an increasingly non-white country. Given these demographic trends, Republican leaders worry that if they keep losing Hispanic voters by that much, they'll lose their chances of ever winning the presidency. So in 2013, some key Republicans in the Senate, including the rising star Marco Rubio, collaborate with Democrats on an immigration reform bill that would give unauthorized immigrants a path to legal status. But there's a huge backlash from the Republican Party's predominantly white base, which views the bill as amnesty for immigrants who broke the rules. This exacerbates the GOP voters' mistrust in their own party leaders, a mistrust that has already been growing for some time. And that makes the political landscape of 2015 fertile ground for a figure like Donald Trump, an outsider businessman who wants to build a wall on the border of Mexico. Trump isn't a traditional conservative, but he appealed to the resentment and the mistrust of party leaders that Republican primary voters had, as well as the strong opposition to growing immigration trends. And even though he was loathed by party leaders, he won enough support in the primaries to become the GOP nominee for president. So now the Republican Party is once again at a major crossroads as it tries to meet the political challenges of the 21st century. It's up to Republican voters and leaders to decide just what they want their party to be.
Okay, so what do y'all think about this too? Should think about that. Now, first off, and I know this is true, the Democrats will forever be racist. Now, all this time that the Democratic Party didn't do not jack diddly squat for the black community. Now that the election is coming up and they saying all sort of things about Donald Trump. So y'all ready to get him up out of there. And usher in Joe Biden. If you look at Joe Biden's history and you look at his past as a senator, he's 41. He was in cahoots with some of the biggest racists, aka segregationists, in U.S. history. Stebbins, to name a few. He even, and that's who they want in the White. That's who they want in the White House. I mean, come on. I mean, if you realize Biden stole this election from us, the Republican Party, which was pioneered by Abraham Lincoln. Well, it really was known to Abraham Lincoln. He abolished slavery, signed the Emancipation Proclamation that allowed all people, regardless of color, the right to citizenship. Now, if you were black and you were slaves, then freed slaves. The Democratic Party, they was for slavery. They were for slavery up until a certain time period. I'm tired. But you know how to say a leper will keep his spots. The Democratic Party will still keep its reputation. Will still keep its reputation. Because as you know, Democratic Party didn't want to do nothing for the black community and the Hispanic community till the election, till the time for the election. Then they are scrambling to get their votes. But so many black people voted for Donald Trump back in 2016 because he did so much for the black community. In fact, not only he, anybody that is Republican, from Abraham Lincoln all the way down, they fought to get their black asses off the fucking couch and go find them a job. Look at it today in our Congress. Got one leader saying, go big or go home, or all or nothing. One leader saying, okay, we don't need this, pass this, bit by bit by bit. So y'all know who saying that, who's saying the following. So I don't have to tell you. But at the end of the day, we all know neither one doing nothing. But I seriously believe that we may get something. Whether you Democrat or Republican. My thing is, this been going on since July, and it's now about to be December. In November, going on December, and we don't got nothing. They need to make a decision by Christmas, or we calling the senators and telling them get their asses in gear. Because they could have been past something in September. They could have been past something in July. But what they doing, they went on vacation. Wow. I know I'm getting off topic. Wow. We suffering. And I will be playing a song. And I know it may be, copyright strike. But I don't own the tunes to this. Just to keep that again. So every time you hear Nancy Pelosi saying that, oh, we go get this, we'll get this, or Mitch McConnell saying we go get this, we go get this, think of this song here.
Let me explain to you what I'm saying. What you saying? It's not even like that. It wasn't like that. But I saw it, baby. I don't love her. You don't love me? You know what? I don't even want to talk. You don't mean nothing to me. I don't want to see your face. I don't want to see you walking through that.
Sing that song right there. And listen very close to the chorus. My shoulder, thinking you gon' get you some, feeling like some fragrance. The stanza is not as important as the verses. Day to day with you is always something else. Working my nerves. God knows that I don't deserve what you put me through. Cause I've been so true to you. For you to come at me with another name. Well, that first part, too. See, we heard all this before. As far as July, we heard all this before. In July, the American people is hurting now. They need to pass something, or we have to shut them down. We were their food. We believed in them, but their lives ain't working now. Who's hurting now? We hurting. The American people. We the people is hurting. We have to shut them down. We have to shut them down. By a phone call to them senators said, pass something. Pass that stimulus package now. There's nothing they can do, and there's nothing they can say once we vote them out the office and get new people up in there. But unfortunately, Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell both got their turns back. See, we heard all this before. Let me explain. Let me explain why y'all going on vacations now. Their lives ain't working now. We hurting now. We had to shut them down by calling our senators and say, hey, pass the stimulus package. See, we paid the food by them before while they went on vacation. Yeah. But the guys ain't working now. We are hurting. We had to shut them down by calling these senators, calling our senators and say, hey, pass this stimulus package. They sitting on a fifth stimulus package and they haven't passed it yet. Come on, man. Yes, that was way back in July. We heard all before. You know, oh, we gonna pass it. Oh, we gonna pass the package. We gonna pass the stimulus package. We gonna pass that. But their lives ain't working now. We are hurting. We had to shut them down. How? Calling these senators and said, "Hey, pass the package. Get off the vacation and get back to the jobs." We trusted the senators for way too long. We trust our government, but their lives ain't working now. We are hurting. We had to shut you down. And how we gonna shut them down? You're on the phone with your senators and find out what the hell is going on. Yes, Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell both messed up. The guys ain't working now. We're hurting. We gotta shut you down. We gotta shut them down. See, we played the fool before. We made a change of locks. We made a change, new party leaders. But their guys ain't working now. Why? We hurting. The American people hurting. We had to shut them down. And we have to shut them down. See, they heard all before. We heard all before. We heard this before. Every time you hear something, oh, we go pass the stimulus, we'll pass the stimulus. Think of Sunshine Anderson's heard all before because that's basically what we're dealing with at this very point. If we don't get nothing by Christmas, then we ain't getting nothing. While millions of people, and I will change this, I will change the title because it is, yeah. But while millions of American people, millions of people getting evicted from their homes, starving to the point you can see their fucking ribs. Their banking accounts going down the toilet fast. You can say Merry Christmas and Happy Thanksgiving fast. Well, doesn't and with a raging virus, killing people left and right. But this virus don't discriminate. It killed blacks, it killed whites, it killed Mexicans, it killed Chinese, Japanese, Germans. Hello. Meanwhile, our politicians playing political games, and going on vacation. Wow. While the unemployment rate is going sky high, it's not even funny. Not even funny. People losing money like left or right. I mean, $1,200 ain't gonna get them through the month. Especially for those like $500-600 a month rent houses. Things not gonna get them through the month. Many states say, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of the government playing games. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. We go pass our own stimulus package because the government is playing political games with the lives of the American people. They are freaking sick of it. when they get sick of it, they get tired of it. Well, oh well. So here's the thing: is we gonna sit there and let our government play around our money and play around with our lives because lives at stake? Yeah, there's a vaccine, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Moderna. These three so far vaccines going. I don't know who know Johnson may got something going on whenever. Uh GSK may, how you say that, they may got they may got something whipped up soon. But so far it was Pfizer, Moderna, and AstraZeneca, which AstraZeneca got 90%, you know, effect rate, and then these other two I think got 94, I think. Yeah. So the vaccine may come before Christmas. The vaccine may just, and then of course it's self quarantine. Let's talk about the quarantine. A lot of people are stocking up on toilet paper, but they may shut this country down again. You know, when Joe Biden hits the White House on January the 20th, he may shut down the country again. And not only that, and I always say this because I know it may become true. He may legalize pedophilia and he may legalize something else. All the things that he did, sniffing on little girls' hair, you know, sniffing on little girls' hair. You might as well get ready for grandpa to sleep with your 10-year-old daughter. Or you might as well have grandma kissing on your 10-year-old son. Because under Joe Biden's America, that may even happen. Pedophilia may become legal under Joe Biden. Let me tell you something. If that was to happen, I would be going to prison because I will catch a case. Because I don't condone pedophilia at all. So that become, I mean, listen, they're already trying to bring the Sharia law bullshit under Obama, under Obama. They're already trying to bring that shit into bring the past. Do not be surprised if that come back again and that was legalized under Biden. Because let me tell you something, it may happen. He raise your taxes. You raise your taxes. Hello. He just said, I would not, impose fracking. I would not impose fracking. He said that in the first presidential debate. If you don't believe me, I will play that as well. But he said he will not bring in fracking. However, if you go on the website, they say that they will oppose fracking. So which one is it? Either you go oppose fracking or you're not going to oppose fracking. Here's another thing that he said, and he turned around and changed it. I would not shut down this country. But recently he said, I will shut down the country and mandatory and make wearing masks mandatory. Either you go to shut down the country and force people to wear the mask, or you're not going to do it. Which one is it? Because right now you just going all over the map. Now, there's a lot of things he said he was going to do, then he turned around and changed it. But those are just a few things that I said that he would Now, you don't have to worry about Donald Trump saying anything and then changing it around because he gonna do exactly what he say he gonna do. That's a man of his word. You don't believe me, then oh well, y'all so welcome to unsubscribe. But those, you know, who love this video, was y'all so welcome. It's a free country, by the way, while we still have a free country, because as y'all all know, oh yeah, like father, like son. You do. I heard through the grapevine that Hunter got pornographic pictures of little girls on his laptop. Yeah, I wish I was fucking joking. But the person, they looked through his laptop and they found damning evidence. But y'all got his daddy in the White House? Excuse me? The same man who basically disrespected his dead brother by marrying his wife. Why? Hunter was married. He was married. But when his brother kicked the bucket, that gave Hunter perfect opportunity to come sweep over there where his widow-in-law at, leave his wife and sideways with her. That is disgusting. I cannot live. I cannot live to see the fact that my own son has decimated his brother, has decimated his brother's, and leave his wife at the same configuration. That is beyond disrespectful. That is so disrespectful. It just, y'all want to see, and this is why Joe Biden would never be my president. Cause see, Donald Trump children won't be doing that. If one of their spouses pass away, they won't go and mess around with their widows or widows. No, they won't do that. Drug addict Hunter Biden, yeah. So, in conclusion, just understand what y'all trying. Just understand what's on. Be vigilant. Be leery about what's going on because it's going to happen. The laws Joe Biden got cooked up right now. He already, I mean, I have a serious feeling that he may pass. He may just legalize pedophilia. A very, 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 very serious feeling he gonna legalize pedophilia. And the parents has no say, and they have no say about it because it's Joe Biden. The very man who smelling with the girl's hair is the same man who may just passing that mess altogether. Yes, I know the topic right there is misleading, but I like to go off. I like to talk about other things as well because just make things much more interesting. But that's probably due time. That will actually tie into what the title is into. So that being said, this happened to Hollister for the Carrington Hollister Show Unfiltered. God, I need to go to bed. The Carrington Hollister Show Unfiltered. And tune in next time for a special, a very special episode of Operation Alliston. Now, all I can say is, because I don't want to spoil the surprise, all I can say is I'm going to test out virtual learning versus brick and mortar. That means I'm going to use this computer to record off another computer that the school may give me just for brick and mortar. I will get with my local board of education and see what if they can green situation. They can see if they can green light it. That may get tons of views. Hell, they may get tons of subscribers. Hell, they may get tons of subscribers. But Operation Alliston, I have not picked a date for yet because it is not yet been officiated. It will have to be sometime in, I know it will have to be sometime in like January or December. But, and that's a big but. This could be a 2-day episode only on the Hollister Report. It would not be known. This particular episode would not be known as the Hollister Show Unfiltered. No. That would be exclusively on the Hollister Report. I mean, I thought school was going to start tomorrow, but unfortunately, Thanksgiving break still, and yeah, so like I say, I may try. So it's more likely I would have to try a school. I don't know which school that may want me to do it. I may try out Howard Center, and I may try out, some other schools right here in my area. But stay tuned, because I know all I can tell you is, and I'm not going to spoil because I would not spoil it, but Operation Alliston will be virtual learning versus brick and mortar. And it's going to be like a little survey. It'll be like a little report, I think. So stay tuned for that. The date is to be announced, but I know it's going to be somewhere around December or sometime in January. 1 to 2. Until then, I am Carrington Hollister. I am signing off for the Carrington Hollister Show Report for Thursday, November 26th. And I want to wish every last one of you that live here in the United States happy, Thanksgiving. I'm signing off.